day, students. I am Miss Andima. Welcome to our Mother Tongue Literacy and Development. This is English 2, and I am here to take you through the exam-based presentation for the examination 2021. Like I indicated earlier, my name is Miss Andima, and let's go through together on this exam-based presentation. I will start with my contact details. Mother Tongue 2 English for DPPE and DJPE. The tutor contact, that is my contact number, 08128 63575. At the time of contact, you can only contact me from 1700 hours to 1900 hours throughout the week. Alternatively, you can email me at a given email address. And I would like to make it clear that number one, I prefer the email because for the email, I can always come back to you at whatever time that is convenient. Or if you have to contact me through the phone, preferably do drop me a text, because even when I'm busy and I cannot attend you to, attend to you at that specific time, I can always come back to you when the time allows. So those are my contact details, students. Welcome to 2021. Please note, Mother Tongue Literacy and Development 2 is a combination, or it's a student that it's a subject that is between the two programs, that is the DPPE and DJP. That means all students that are doing those two programs are doing this subject. Hence, the subject content is exactly the same. You need to familiarize yourself with the content from the study guides, because both the assignments in examination are based on the guides content. So whatever you're doing, be it assignments or examination, so all the assessments are derived from the study guide that is for the Mother Tongue Literacy and Development English 2. Secondly, take note of the keywords as some information, maybe same topic, is presented differently in the two study guides. So what happens here is that it appears DPPE have got their study guide, as well as DJP2, they have their study guide for Mother Tongue 2 English. However, the content is similar, but you may find that it appears that it's presented differently, but under the same topic. Hence, it's not exactly the same, but what you have to take note is the topic at hand. If it's, let's say, for instance, listening problems, I'm just giving as an example. It could be that the problems, how they are presented in the DPPE study guide, might be a little bit different from DJPE study guide. But don't worry, as long as the topic is the same, you ought to give the answers that you find in your study guide. It is fine. It will be regarded, or it will be taken as correct. Study your IOL study guide very well, because all the questions, as I indicated, will be from this. Pay attention to your assignments and the comments made by the tutor. Read the questions carefully to understand what is asked. Ensure that you understand exactly what you're supposed to answer. Many students give wrong answers as they do not understand what is asked in the question. Hence, you need to take time so you understand the questions. Talking about taking your time, please do your assignments especially well in advance to allow yourself time to even look for help Help can be from other sources, for instance, can be from the fellow students, can be from the tutor when you really have tried and you cannot get an answer from any of those that surround you, be it from your study groups. Examination. Understanding how to answer a question is key. Every examination paper is set in 3 levels of difficulty. So as you have different questions in the question papers, they are not at the same level of mastery and the same level of difficulty. You have some that are at level 1, level 2, and level 3. These levels are usually indicated by the specific verb or action verb that leads the question. It's important that you study or you understand these action verbs or these question words. If you check in your study guide, at the very beginning of each study guide, you find a list of all these verbs. And they are explained and defined what exactly they mean or what is expected. For instance, I'll give an example. If the question asks you discuss or define, you would know that define is different from discuss. Or list. List is different from explain. It's not the same. To list is just to give items one by one. If you are asked, for instance, to list different types of sports, you would probably just give an example or list them as soccer, basketball, netball, and so on. But if you are asked to explain, for instance, how a certain sport code takes place, or to explain in more details what happens when it takes place, that means you should give more information rather than just listing one by one. Okay? You will have to study this list, or you will lose marks when not knowing what to do. So when you do not understand what is asked of you, what a specific verb or this action word tells you to do, you might end up losing marks because you'll be answering you'll be answering questions wrongly. Another thing also is to look at that will lead you is also the number of questions and the number of marks allocated. By looking at the number of marks allocated per question, it will guide you to understand, also to know how much you should answer for the specific question. Not to give too much and not to give too little. You will obviously know that if it says list 5 types of sport and it's only allocated 5 marks, so that basically just tells you to mention them one by one and not to go into details and explaining. But if it says discuss these 5 codes of sport and it's 10 marks, for instance, that basically already tells you that you have to mention a specific code and go into details, also explaining or defining what it is about. So that is about answering questions during examination and also during assignment. It's also very important to study and be able to apply the following to different sentences. So these are grammar rules and they should be taken very seriously. Punctuation, capitalization, sentence structure, sentence construction, conjunctions, determinants, quantifier, and spelling. So familiarize yourself if you do not know any of these ones or what it is. Like I'm saying, I'm just putting them under the same umbrella of grammar rules, and they are there to guide us in order for us to write something that can be read and that can be understood. When you have written what you have written and it lacks any of this, especially punctuation, or maybe your words are misspelled and all that, you are likely to get the answers wrongly, and to answer question wrong, or it becomes difficult also for a tutor marker to understand and make out what you really want to, or what you mean from what you have written. Hence, you risk losing marks. So make sure that your writing is very clear. Most importantly, read, understand, and follow all instructions in the question paper. Be it the question paper during examination or assignment. Instructions are very, very important, and this is the very first thing you look at before you even turn, or before you go into any other. Instructions are very important for you not to make mistakes, and also for you to know what to do or what is expected of you. You'll find that in some instances, such as examination, some section where you are instructed only, maybe it's section B, just to give an example, has got 5 questions, and you're only supposed to answer 3 questions from those 5 questions. Now, because you undermine the power of instruction, and you just decide you are not gonna pay attention to the instructions, you may end up losing marks. You may end up failing because of your ignorance, because you ignore the instructions. So do read the instructions. They are there for purpose to guide you, in order for you to know what to do. As we proceed, let's touch on the course description, or the aims of this course briefly. This course aims to develop theoretical understanding, values, and competencies, to develop listening skills in our learners, to demonstrate and explain the development of speaking competencies, analyze the development of and support reading and writing competencies, examine additional teaching and learning activities for junior primary reading development, and to examine the teaching and learning activities as well as materials for language development. Those were the aims of the course, the mother tongue English. You are being cautioned once more. Please do write clearly and number your questions accordingly. You will find instances where students will answer the questions, and then they just jot down the answers and they are not numbered. So that becomes difficult to a tutor to determine which kind of or which number of questions are you answering. So it does not really matter in what order you have answered your questions, as long as you have numbered them correctly. Where optional questions are given, I have already emphasized on this one. Please clearly indicate your choice by numbering. If, like I've given an example before, there are more than, let's say 3 questions, and you're only supposed to answer 3 questions, maybe 3A, B, C, and D, and then you decided that you will only answer 3A, 3C, and 3D. So do make sure that it is clear even to the next person who's going to read you or mark your work. Make it easier for him or her to figure out which questions you have answered. For these coming examinations, students should be able to know the following. We will look at items that may help children's listening development. Remember, we are just giving you the hints for the examination, and not exactly the questions as such that will be part of the examination, but to guide you. These are exam guides and hints for you to prepare for the examination. Let's continue. Other items: how a teacher can identify listening difficulty in a learner. and the support that you as a teacher can provide to this student or learners of yours that may find themselves having listening difficulties. This information is in your study guide. It's just up to you to go out there and dig it from the study guide, and it's very presented. It's presented clearly. Another one is on speaking. This is different figurative or idiomatic expressions and their meanings as part of language teaching. We also have what is called phonemic awareness skills as you teach your students how to read. These skills can be introduced to learners in word play activities and some other ways. They are there in the study guide. As we proceed, we also look at different learning difficulties that may be experienced by various learners in different school settings. We have alienated listening difficulties. However, those are not the only listening difficulties that you may come across or that you may discover from your learners. You find that they have got different learning difficulties. And in most cases, it's also up to the teacher to find out or to diagnose, not necessarily to diagnose, but to detect this type of learning difficulties and then render the necessary help to your learners. We have what is called print conventions that children have to learn incidentally when the teacher reads to them. This is also during reading. Go to the unit in your study guide that deals with reading. You will definitely come across these print conventions. We have also characteristics found in children with auditory perception needs. Auditory goes hand in hand, or it's in the same line with the listening problems. So we also have activities that can develop analysis and synthesis skills, methods and materials to facilitate development of speaking vocabulary, that is speaking as well as reading. How a teacher can help learners to make a book and draw own stories. Remember, these are primary school learners, and those are some of the activities that they indulge in. We also have key elements of active listening. Active listening, you have to familiarize yourself with what is active listening, be it in the classroom or on the side of you as a teacher, how you're supposed to practice active listening in order to get information from the learners that you are dealing with, or maybe from any other person that you come across in your learning context, be it parents or any other stakeholder. We have a concept called shared reading. It's important that you understand what shared reading is and how it benefits learners in order to develop phonics. We have public skills, public speaking skills, or communication skills rather, that you as a teacher must possess in order to interact well with your learners. We are also looking at the difference between phonics and phonological awareness. These two concepts, you find them under the unit that deals with reading, or you need these skills when you are teaching your learners how to read. Make sure that you can differentiate, or you understand what is the difference between the two. They are very important. As we continue, we're looking at activities which can be used to check comprehension of the story during and after storytelling. This is when we are practicing speaking and listening in the classroom setting. So you are given various activities that you can practice or that you can employ in order to train your learners, and also for you to monitor to find out whether they were really listening. That is during when you are busy telling the story, and also after you have finished telling them a story. I think we have mentioned the activities to develop analysis and synthesis skills. We have an approach called KWL approach during reading, when we are dealing with our students and then we are teaching them how to read. Also during comprehension, that's a special approach that helps us in order to teach our students and also to find out from our students whether they are really learning or not. Apply that KWL approach, but most importantly, understand what it is about. Only then you can be able to apply it. Dear students, we are continuing with exam preparation, and then here we have listening versus hearing. These two appear synonymous but are different. Make sure you can differentiate the two. They are different from each other. We have items that may help children's listening development. These are items such as the songs, the rhymes, the poems, short stories, and folk tales. So this is simplified for you. It is up to you to go to the study guide also and confirm to really see to it that yes, these are indeed the activities that can help children in order to listen well or to develop their listening. The key elements of active listening, some of them, remember, as I indicated at the beginning, they may appear different because it could be that those that are presented here are from maybe DPPE and you are doing DJP. So it's not a problem, you can use any of them, or you stick to what you have in your specific course study guide. We have general guidelines for teaching listening. These guidelines also are presented differently depending on the study guide, whether it is DPPE or DJPE. Whichever you present, it is not a problem as long as they are correct. The ones that we have here, such as you are supposed to set a purpose for listening, you let your class to be aware the purpose. If you are going to do the listening, you are going to read to them, you are going to tell them a story. Why should they listen? Set a stage and your expectation for listening. After telling them a story, after they have listened, what do you want them to do after? What do you expect from them as a teacher? Make your listening activities short, interesting, and meaningful to your learners. Integrate listening activity with other meaningful experience. Demonstrate listening skills by attending when children speak and respond with respect. And also avoid repeating your own or the learner's responses. Yes, share the reading as a concept, we say. This is a concept that takes place in a classroom setting where the teacher reads with a class or a group. There is a larger book that has big print. So the teacher slides his or her hand from left to the right and the way. How does it benefit the learners? It helps struggling learners with necessary support, those that have got reading difficulties. It may allow learners to enjoy the materials they may not enjoy on their own, because now they are reading in a classroom setting and they are reading together with the others as well as the teacher. Share the reading of predictable text can build sight, word, knowledge, and reading fluency. So that's how it helps the learners. Then we have methods to promote children awareness of the value of reading. So those ones, look them up in your study guide. And then should you come across such type of question, you will definitely be able to tackle it accordingly. Distinguishing between phonics and phonological awareness, I've emphasized that, saying those are two different concepts, and then you ought to know the difference. Print conventions that children need to learn incidentally when a teacher reads to them. In your class, when you teach these children, this convention entails that children will come to realize that the print has got meaning. A book is read and contains interesting stories or information. Learners will also, during these conventions or through these conventions, they will know how to handle a book, how to hold a book, how to interpret pictures. They can identify which one is the cover, the front part, and the back part of the book. Which one is the top and the bottom, or how to hold upright or downward as such. Learners will be able to recognize that reading is done from left to right. They will learn how a story is structured. Those are the print conventions that children have to learn in the classroom. How do you as a teacher support learners with speech difficulties? Speech difficulties is, we are talking about learners that are unable to articulate properly, they cannot speak properly, they have speech difficulties. As a teacher, you must make sure that you speak clear and slow, in a clear and a slow manner. Remember, these are learners with special needs, so they need special attention. Allow enough learning time. They may not be learning at the same pace with others that do not have special needs, so they need enough time. Obtain hearing aid if it's needed, and also try to find out how they can be provided with this hearing aid. Talk to your learners all the time in order to keep them engaged and to capture their attention all the time. Make reading an interactive activity. Read together. Ask learners to predict how their story will end. This captures their attention in order for them to also be part of the story, to participate and listen to the stories together, make up silly rhymes, and play the story chain. That is how you as a teacher can provide support to learners with speech difficulties. The next one is communication skills. Teachers must possess the skills that communication teachers must possess in order to interact well with their learners. So, as a teacher or as a communication teacher, you ought to have positive motivation. This means the teacher, as a teacher, should create enthusiasm and interest in the minds of these young ones towards your subject, be it the English subject or any other subject. You should have effective body language. A powerful body language supported by verbal skills make good presentation, because you complement your verbal speech with your body language. So they should complement to give emphasis on what you are trying to put across. You as a teacher should have sense of humor. A good sense of humor keeps the learners active in class. Understanding the learners, as the teacher, you should understand and you should encourage learners to communicate openly. Should they face certain difficulties, they should be open with you. There should be an emphasis on dialogue rather than monologue. Hope we know the difference between dialogue as well as monologue. Di means two and mono means one. So it's a conversation. A di is a conversation between two people, and when you are having a monologue, you basically having a conversation with your own self. Basic skills for reading and writing, hearing and identifying sounds, that is what we call phonemic awareness, learning the letter sounds and what they look alike in print, learning letter formation, blending, identifying sounds in words, spelling tricky words. So you will find different ways on how you can present this. You'll find that in most of the classrooms there are a lot of interesting materials and aids, teaching aids that are there in order to help the learners in order for them to realize, to learn different words or maybe letter formation and all that, be it posters or any other learning material or aid that you can have at your disposal. Activities for enhancing analysis and synthesis skills are such as puzzles, building blocks, construction toys, loose felt material pictures, loose letters to rebuild a name. So these are some of the materials that you can have in your classroom in order for you to enhance such skills in your learners. Public skills, presentation skills, public skills or presentation skills needed by the teacher. As a teacher, you must make sure that you plan your lesson. When you speak, you engage all your learners. You pay attention to how you're speaking, pay attention to your body language, positive motivation to your learners. You must have sense of humor, and you must try to understand your learners. By you can only understand your learners by let's say, for instance, having a conversation with them, having a dialogue with them, and be observant also in order to spot out all those problems if there's any. Public speaking skills or presentation skills as they appear on different study guides. The ones that we dealt with earlier are from these ones are from DJP study guide, and then the ones that we are looking at here, age, gender, sex, and so on, these ones are taken from the DPPE study guide. So like I said, ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't really matter which answers you take. If you have to answer the question from the examination, it does not mean if you are doing DJPE you cannot use DPPE answers. If you think that is what is more convenient for you, so whichever answers you can use, it is okay, as long as they are answering to the correct question. As long as they are correct answers to the question at hand. Okay? Okay, as we go towards the end of our presentation, I would just like to emphasize on assessment, and I repeat once more, the action verbs, they are very important. These are your guide. They tell you what you're supposed to do, where you're supposed to go. Know what is expected of you. Refer to the list in the study guide. Take note. A teacher takes a hand, opens a mind, touches a heart, and changes the world. All the best, dear students, with your examination. We have come to the end of our presentation. that is exam-based presentation, and I wish you the best of luck with your examination. Thank you.